Why are so many unbelievers so hostile to Christians? I don't know if you've experienced this, if you've noticed this. I certainly have, and in fact, I would argue I've seen it increasing significantly over the last several decades. And I have, in one manner or another, sought to look at this question, and every time I do, I experience in a visceral, concrete way the reality of what it is I'm trying to say. That is, I get hostile responses from unbelievers. Now, that doesn't mean, of course, that all unbelievers respond with hostility at all. It's not what I'm trying to argue. I'm just saying it's not that. It's very common to get hostile responses from unbelievers toward believers, and many of those hostile responses are grounded in the accusation that we Christians are so terribly, terribly judgmental, or we're so terribly, terribly hypocritical. Now, those two things are very different things, but they both intersect with this particular question. What do we believe about the sinfulness of others? And what do we believe about the sinfulness of ourselves? It is a gross example of hypocrisy when we establish two different standards, one gentle, gracious, kind one by which we judge ourselves, and one harsh and mean-spirited one by which we judge others. And certainly, Christians have proven capable of doing just that. I should say, however, that the reason Christians are capable of doing just that is not because they're Christians, but because they're people. This is what people do on both sides of this fence. And so that accusation that that's hypocrisy, that we have two different standards, that's something we all struggle with. Now, what we tend to do, it's not just us versus them, it's me and my friends versus them and their friends, so that I don't know, I judge myself and I judge people who are fellow believers gently, but I'm going to judge this unbeliever and all of the other unbelievers that way. It's a bad thing. We have a second problem of a genuine what's the word for it? A genuine culture inside the church that it profoundly, implicitly, though not overtly, but profoundly, implicitly, not overtly, denies the reality of our own sinfulness. We pretend that we're better than we are. And we can be guilty of that, but guess what? Surprise, surprise, it's a human problem, not just a Christian problem. What should happen, and what I want to have happen, I want to be able to say as straightforwardly as possible to any of my unbelieving listeners, you're a wicked, horrible person just like me. I'm not saying you're any more wicked than I am or you're any more horrible than I am. My being a Christian isn't a function of me being a better person than you. Because it's not about me, it's about Jesus. Now, Jesus, he's better than both of us. And I need that. I needed him to die for me, just like you do. I needed his goodness to be given to me, just like you do. And I continue to struggle, just like you do. When we come toward the unbeliever with a posture that says, you're worse than me and you're my enemy and I hate you, we're not doing it right. When we come to the unbeliever with a posture that says, I'm exactly the same as you and in the same place as you and I would never judge you, we're also not doing it right. In the first instance, we're bragging about ourselves to a bunch of people that are starving when we ourselves were starving. In the second instance, we're telling someone else that's starving that there is no bread. Instead, what we do is we go to the starving and we say, let me tell you where I found bread. It's the bread of life. It's Jesus. And he has made me alive. And he can do the same for you. It's not about, at the end of the day, him making me good. It's about him being good for me. And if you will rest in him, it's for you too.